All right, this is part 4 of our video series on doing layouts for the CNC router or maybe even the plasma CNC. But in this video, I'm just going to kind of show you how to set up your, things to lay out on your material. Right now, we've got our curves; they're all grouped nicely. We've got our dog bones and things like that. And so, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to call that material. And I'm going to select it, and I'm going to change its color just so it's something else. And I'm going to close it out. And what I want to do is I want to align everything so it's aligned with the coordinate system. Because when I'm using CNC machines, typically they need to home themselves and work off of their own coordinate systems. And, sometimes that might be called a work offset or things like that. But just to keep things simple, let's keep things lined up with our coordinate system, all right? It just makes things a whole lot easier, and when you see the CNC machine, it makes it a little easier to understand. And with our machine, actually, the longest travel, when you look at it, is the x-axis. So its longest part is the x-axis. So we want to make sure when we're laying things out, that's how we do it, and we take note of that. So I'm going to come over here to my rectangle tool and just kind of make an outline of my material. So like I said before, let's keep it simple, and I'm just going to type in 0 so it aligns there. And now I can see that I can click a second point, or I can put in my length of my material, which for us is 96, because we're using a 4x8 sheet of plywood, so 96, and then it's 48 inches. So right now, so this is good. It's set up the way I want it to, because this long length is the longest length of the machine. Now, one thing I also want to note is I don't want my pieces to get too close to the edge. So if I were to say I want to cut this right here and fit all my pieces in, the CNC router is a 1/4 inch bit, or maybe even a 1/2 inch bit. It depends really on what you're using, but you want to make sure that your bit isn't over here or off the material. So to make sure I'm not going into the danger zone, I'm going to offset my material curve as reference. So I'm going to come over here, offset curve, and I'm going to say 0.75 is a good rule of thumb. I'm going to select this. Now I can go on the inside or outside. I'm going to go on the inside. So that's the maximum for moving my pieces. So that's really the closest I can go, is right there. So I'm going to put that guy there, and then I can move my other pieces around, and I'm going to try and get as much as I can out of this. So I'm going to copy and paste my lines. Let's see here. I'm going to get 2 sets. So I have 2 chairs. And then I can just play around with it from there, and I can just rotate these in different ways. And this is just going to take some time playing around with them. Let's see. Now, one thing I want to be aware of is when I'm cutting this, I want to make sure that I'm at least, again, 3/4 of an inch away. And the reason for that is because I don't want to cut away too much material so that these become loose. I don't want them to be like 1/4 inch away from each other, because when it comes by, it'll cut, and it might, even potentially cut into the chair. So for example, if I go back over here, click my diameter tool, I'm just going to click 0.25. Oop, why did it go away? So that's what my router bit's going to look like. And it's going to do the same thing on the other side, and it's going to cut away that much material. So I want to make sure that I'm away from other pieces. And I can do that by just coming up here and I can analyze distance, and I can just click point to point and say, where am I? And it'll come up here, and oh, right now I'm 0.1286, right down here in the lower left corner, which I could probably come a little bit closer. Because like I said, 3/4 is really what I would prefer. And I'm living on the edge there. So I'm going to just play around with these and move around. So I have some playing around to really try and get 2 chairs out of this. But that's part of the deal. And so this kind of concludes where I am with my layout. What I can do is, once I get this all laid out, I can just delete any extra lines. And I can come over here. I'm just going to go back to my curve layout, and I'm going to lock my materials layer so I can't edit it, so it just stays that way. All right, so this concludes the final video of laying out our pieces for the CNC router. Please watch the video tutorials on how to write your tool paths, and then you can get cutting, flip some chips. All right, have a good one.